Grandmaster Greevil has, as you would expect, armed himself with the best and most powerful Shadow Pokemon available. And I'll be going over these Pokemon in this video. Obviously, don't watch if you don't want to be spoiled on what Shadow Pokemon Greevil has, or the way the final boss fight works. So, last warning. Right, if you're still here, let's get to it. The final battle with Greevil actually consists of two back-to-back fights. The first is a fight against a single Pokemon, XD001, Shadow Lugia itself. It plays out very similarly to a battle with a legendary Pokemon in the main series games, except that you still follow double battle mechanics, so you'll be fighting it 2-on-1. It's also technically considered a trainer battle against Greevil, so you do get prize money from it. Let's go over XD001 now. Shadow Lugia has all the strengths of a normal Lugia, that is, immense defenses. Even super effective attacks won't cause much damage. Like many legendaries, it has the pressure ability, but it's actually able to make decent use of it given how bulky it is. Sadly, multi-scale is exclusive to later generations. Shadow Lugia has a full moveset of 4 Shadow moves: Shadow Blast, Shadow Shed, Shadow Down, and Shadow Storm. Shadow Blast is Shadow Lugia's signature move, and it's the one that its AI likes to use, I'd say 95% of the time. This is a corrupted version of Lugia's regular signature move, Aeroblast. It's a physical move, even though it may look like a beam, with 80 power, 100% accuracy, and a high critical hit ratio. Being physical means that you can mitigate its damage with Reflect, but if you get unlucky and Shadow Lugia goes for Shadow Down, it's going to be hitting you a lot harder. Now, if Shadow Lugia obeys its normal catch rate, it has a catch rate of 3, the lowest possible, meaning that even if it's at 1 HP and status, you still have a very low chance of actually catching it. And while I do suspect that many catch rates are altered in this game, I don't think that's true of Shadow Lugia. It's just as difficult to catch as you'd expect from a legendary. The game definitely expects you to use your Master Ball on it, but if you are going to challenge yourself not to do that, I'd recommend making use of one of the false swipers in this game. Breloom and Parasect are good options. Now, assuming that you do catch Shadow Lugia, according to Greevil, it's a perfect Shadow Pokemon that can't be purified. So, what do we do about it? Well, I'll talk about that later. Whether you knock out Shadow Lugia or capture it, and if you do knock it out, you can repeat this part of the fight as many times as you want just by going back to the final boss's location. But regardless, after the fight, you'll go into Greevil's second battle, where he uses a full team of 6 Shadow Pokemon. The game definitely doesn't expect you to snag all 6 in one go, but I'm going to try that as a challenge. Like Evice in Colosseum, you can repeat this fight as many times as you want. And Greevil has a full set of 6 replacement Pokemon that he'll sub in for any Shadow Pokemon that you've snagged. So if snagging 6 Pokemon at once seems overwhelming, you can do this in multiple trips. One thing to note about these 6 Shadow Pokemon though, the game auto-saves after beating Greevil's second fight. Because of that, it's impossible to soft reset for Nature and IVs on these Pokemon, so you're stuck with whatever you end up getting. With that prep out of the way, let's get on to Greevil's first Shadow Pokemon, Shadow Rhydon. Of all the rock ground types in the game, well, Rhydon is technically ground rock, but same difference. Rhydon is probably one of the best. It has massive attack, good defense, and very good HP too. As you'd expect though, the rest of its stats are garbage. Rhydon has the same 2 ability options that Marowak has. I'd probably say that Lightning Rod is better in this game due to being all double battles, but recoilless Double Edge is nice to have too. As a Shadow Pokemon, this Rhydon starts with Shadow End, which obviously does absurd damage coming off a base 130 attack stat, and it has Shadow Down to lower the opponent's defense even more. Shadow Panic is kind of a weird option, and Shadow Hold would be a good combo with Shadow Down if it weren't for the fact that the AI almost never switches. On Purification, this Rhydon starts with Earthquake and Megahorn, both moves that it wouldn't normally learn by level up until much later. Helping Hand is a great XD exclusive move for it, and in fact, it could be good for a double battling Rhyperior in later generations. Scary Face is the only real dud out of its starting moveset. For things to replace that with, you've got Rock Blast via Move Relearner, which is unreliable, but it is probably the best Rock-type option Rhydon has, seeing as Rock Slide is not a tutor move in this game, and it's otherwise only a breeding move for Rhydon in Gen 3. For TMs, you can use Focus Punch or Brick Break for fighting coverage, though Earthquake hits most things weak to fighting anyway. Rock Tomb is another rock option, and Fire Blast might seem dumb because of Rhydon's horrible special attack, but it will hit Skarmory harder than its other moves will. Skarmory is just that physically defensive. For tutor moves, Body Slam gives some status support, Double Edge is highly recommended if you have Rock Head, not so much if you don't. Icy Wind is good as another support option, and you can also use Substitute with your high HP. Overall, Rhydon is exactly what you'd expect out of a ground rock type, very physically bulky and physically strong, but horrendously slow and terrible on the special side. But it's definitely one of the best Pokemon of this particular stat mold. Okay, this one technically isn't next in Greevil's team order, but half of Greevil's team is very special, so I want to cover them last. So the next normal Pokemon is Exeggutor. Exeggutor is a grass psychic type, making it very weak to bug. That has very good special attack, and decent bulk on the physical side too. Its physical attack isn't that bad for a psychic type either, but it's very slow and has weak special defense. The speed issue can be mitigated a little bit if you want to go for Sunny Day though, since Exeggutor in Gen 3 will always have the Chlorophyll ability. For its starting moves, Exeggutor has Shadow End, which is very weird, because it's easily the worst user of this move. That's not to say that a base 120 power move that's always super effective is at all bad, but it's not nearly as threatening as some other users of it. Its Shadow Storms, on the other hand, are going to be very, very powerful. On Purification, Exeggutor sadly has a pretty bad XD exclusive move. But it's hard to say no to Psychic or Hypnosis. Ancient Power would be better if it was special, but in Gen 3 it's physical. Exeggutor, being a Stone evolution, doesn't have very much in its level up move pool. There's really just Hypnosis and it already starts with it, but for TM moves you probably want Sunny Day, Light Screen is nice for some supports, you definitely want a grass move, so either Giga Drain or Solar Beam, probably Solar Beam if you're going with Sunny Day, and Sludge Bomb is a weird option, but Exeggutor's attack isn't terrible. For tutor moves, Dream Eater is nice as Exeggutor learns Hypnosis naturally and Dream Eater gets Stab. You also have another interesting option in Self-Destruct, although Exeggutor would gain Explosion via TM in later generations, so you might want to save the Self-Destruct move tutor for something else. Overall, Exeggutor makes a very good Chlorophyll Pokemon. Outside of Sun though, there are better offensive Psychic types, and Grass types. Ah, there's the last of the really annoying Safari Zone Pokemon. Anyone who played the Kanto games or their remakes is probably having horrible traumatic flashbacks right now. Personally, I always found Tauros the hardest Pokemon to get in the Safari Zone, even more than Chansey. But what's Tauros like as a Pokemon? Well, it's a physically attacking normal type that's very fast, with decent physical bulk as well, especially complemented by the Intimidate ability. Taurus's 100 base attack was very good for Generation 1, but it's sadly fallen behind the times, even in Generation 3. Here, Taurus's main asset is its speed. This one's starting moveset is very good though. Well, mainly after it's purified. They realized that giving Tauros Shadow N would probably be a little ridiculous in the boss fight, so it only has Shadow Rush. After purification though, it has Earthquake to start with, saving you from needing to use the TM, Body Slam, which is kind of nice as a stab move, though I'd prefer Return or Double Edge, and its other two moves are trash. Well, Tail Whip is actually okay in double battle since it hits both opponents, but it's still not the best move ever. For level up moves, you can pay the Move Relearner for Rest if you want some healing, or Thrash, though be warned that Thrash is very unreliable in double battles, and also it's weaker than it would be in later generations. For TM moves, you really don't need much more than Earthquake and a normal move, but Rock Tomb can be a nice option to hit flying types. For tutor moves, Double Edge is a great option, Icy Wind is also nice for some support, though Tauros really is better off just smashing things in the face, And Substitute is also an option if you want that. Overall, Tauros is a very fast Pokemon, not as strong as it used to be, but Intimidate and its great speed make it a pretty good normal type sweeper. It's a great candidate for the post-game Colosseum challenge, especially if you pick up a choice band for it. And so we come to Greevil's 3 most notable Pokemon. Unlike in Colosseum, they saved the legendary shadows for the big boss this time. Though if you watch the opening movie, you'd be spoiled on them. First up is Moltres. It's a fire flying type, which isn't anywhere near as bad of a thing in Gen 3 as it would be starting with Gen 4, and it has very good special attack, and fairly balanced stats elsewhere. Having only 90 base speed though is a bit of an issue, but Moltres makes up for it by being a little bulkier than most fire-type sweepers. As a Shadow Pokemon, Moltres has its own signature move, Shadow Fire. 75 power, 100 accuracy, special, and with a 10% chance of a burn. Oh, and it also looks really cool. It's probably my favourite Shadow move animation. Its other Shadow moves aren't too notable, but what is notable about these Shadow Legendaries is that they have not 1, but 3 XD exclusive moves each. Though all of them share extra sensory. It's not the best move in the world, but it is another special option. Moltres' other 2 XD exclusive moves are Morning Sun and Will-O-Wisp. Sadly, Moltres, probably unintentionally, got the short end of the stick here. While both of these moves are good, they'd both be superseded in Generation 4. Roost is generally better than Morning Sun, and it's a TM, and Will-O-Wisp became a TM in Generation 4, so it's no longer an XD exclusive move. So of these 3, the only true exclusive move is Extra Sensory. Moltres has a few options for level up moves, though being a legendary, most of them come at absurdly high levels. Agility you can get right off the bat from the move relearner, Heat Wave is great for doubles, but you need to train up to level 73, and Sky Attack, well, yeah, that's a long way off. For TM moves, Sunny Day is nice. I have Rain Dance listed here. You're probably wondering if I've gone insane, recommending Rain Dance on a fire type, but this is if you want to transfer this Moltres to Generation 5. Due to gaining Hurricane in that gen, which has perfect accuracy during rain, Moltres makes a very good Rain Sweeper, oddly enough for a fire type, in that generation. As for other moves, remember that Moltres' physical attack isn't bad, so you can use Return or Aerial Ace as physical options. Or you can go with Fire Blast or Overheat over Flamethrower if you want more power on your fire moves. For tutor moves, you can get Sky Attack earlier than you normally would, or you can go for Double Edge. Overall, Moltres isn't the best of the legendary birds, but it's not a horrible Pokemon, especially in Generation 3. So definitely use it if you want to. Articuno, the defensive Pokemon of the 3 legendary birds. Articuno has great special defense and pretty good physical defense, as well as nice HP, and decent special attack too. Unfortunately, Articuno's typing is pretty bad defensively, and that ruins a lot of its tanking potential. Articuno's Shadow signature move is Shadow Chill, 75 power, 100 accuracy, special, and a 10% chance of freeze. I think you see the pattern here. For XD exclusive moves, other than Extra Sensory, which all 3 of the legendary birds get, Articuno has Heal Bell and Haze. Heal Bell is yet another option that was great at the time. Articuno was actually one of the best users of Heal Bell, but it got superseded in later generations when Heal Bell became a tutor move. Haze is not a bad option though. Eliminating all the opponent's stat changes can stop some boosters in their tracks. Ice Beam, obviously you want to keep that, unless you're planning on going for Blizzard. For level up moves, Reflect and Blizzard are both nice options, though both are easily buyable as TMs, so I don't think it's much point waiting that long to learn them. As for other TM moves, Articuno has access to Water Pulse, which is the only water move that it gets, sadly, but it can boost that with Rain Dance while also lowering the power of its fire weakness. Hail is also an option if you want to go for damaging all non-ice types. Remember though, Blizzard does not have perfect accuracy in Hail in this generation. That was only introduced in Generation 4. Aerial Ace is an option for Flying Stab, I suppose. As for tutor moves, Icy Wind is nice, and Substitute helps you tank a little bit more. Overall, Articuno's typing kind of ruined its defensive potential. However, this Articuno gets some good XD exclusive moves, especially Heal Bell, so it might be worth using for that. I guess there's just some kind of law that Zapdos has to always be the best of the 3 legendary birds. Because seriously, not only does Zapdos have probably the best stat distribution of all 3, it also has the best typing. Electric Flying is fantastic. These combined have made Zapdos a very popular Pokemon ever since its debut. And so naturally, they decided to give Zapdos the best XD exclusive moves by far out of all 3 legendary birds. Zapdos makes excellent use of Baton Pass. Even though it can only pass Agility and Substitute, Zapdos is by far one of the best Pokemon to use on dedicated Baton Pass teams in almost any generation. Its other XD exclusive move is Metal Sound, which sharply lowers the special defense of the target. Given that Zapdos is already immensely powerful as a special attacker, think of this move like a nasty plot that also can force switches. It's seen quite a bit even in competitive play. As a Shadow Pokemon, it has the exclusive move Shadow Bolt, which, as you'd expect, 70 power, 100 accuracy, special, and 10% chance of paralysis. Its other Shadow moves are meh, though Shadow Sky is alright. From its level up move pool, Agility is highly recommended to combine with Baton Pass. Detect is also not bad in doubles. A lot of Pokemon that can get Detect often use it over Protect, because it's harder to imprison it. Drill Peck is also a decent option, despite Zapdos' lower physical attack than special attack. It's a move Zapdos has been using for ages. Light Swain and Thunder are also good, but just like Articuno's later level up moves, they're both available as TMs anyway. Zapdos doesn't really have many options available by TM. It's like many electric Pokemon in that regard. Its move pool isn't particularly wide, but it doesn't need to be. It has all the tools it needs to be great. For tutor moves, Substitute is highly recommended if you're going for a Baton Pass set, Thunder Wave is also a great move to use, and I suppose you can use Sky Attack if you want kind of a gimmicky power option. What else is there to say about Zapdos other than, once again, it's the best of the 3 legendary birds? If you're lucky enough to get one from Greevil with a good nature and good IVs, definitely transfer it forward to later generations. These exclusive moves are some of the best in all of XD. And they're all one of the best Pokemon in all of XD. So that's all of Greevil's Shadow Pokemon covered. For the rest of this video, I'll be showing some clips of things that happened during my pre-final battle grinding session that I felt were interesting enough to show. This includes a purification montage for the 9 that were in my purification chamber at the time. I hope you've enjoyed this discussion of Greevil's Shadow Pokemon, and next it'll be time for the final battle. Look forward to that. So, Leviatine is trying to learn something at level 42. Can you guess what move it is? Vaporeon gets Haze at this level, which is pretty decent. Jolteon gets Thunder Wave, which is very good. Espeon gets Psych Up, which can kinda help. What does Flareon get at level 42 in Gen 3? Smog! Let me just quickly show you what Smog is. 20 power, 70 accuracy, and very small chance of poison. This is a move that they felt fit to give Flareon at level 42. Game Freak just really hates Flareon, don't they?